Okay, I'm still reading from volume 8 of my set of Bible stories, or Bible story by Arthur S Maxwell. This is the 8th book, and we're in part 3, story 6, The Wedding Nobody Went to. Okay? Ooh, starts off like a fairy tale. Once upon a time, said Jesus, there was a king who planned a wedding feast for his son. He sent out invitations to all the important people in his kingdom and expected that they would be glad and honored to come. But they didn't come. One after the other sent word to say, "Sorry, but I can't come there." So the king sent his servants to invite the people personally, and urged them to change their mind. But they still But still they would not come. So the king would be would have been very angry at being treated like this. Okay. Some kings would have been very angry at being treated like this. But this one was kind and patient. He decided to give them all one more chance. As the wedding day drew near, he sent out other servants to say to those who had been invited, "Everything is ready. The food is prepared. Come and come do come." But again they refused. In fact, they acted as though they didn't care about the wedding at all. One went off to his farm, another to his place of business. Some even seized the king's servants, beat them up, and killed them. This was too much for the king. Kind and good though he was, he would not stand for this. So he ordered his soldiers to slay the murderers and burn their city. But there was still no guest at the wedding. So now the king called the servants and said to them, "The wedding is ready, but those who I invited first were not worthy to come. Now go to the streets and invite anyone you meet." Off they went to do as they were told. "How would you like to come to the palace tonight?" they asked a beggar on the roadside. "What, me?" said the poor man, unable to believe his ears. "Yes, you. Come along. You will be welcome. The king has asked for you. Just make sure you wear a wedding garment." So they invited everybody they came across, both bad and good. Soon hundreds of poor, needy people were hurrying towards the king's palace from all directions. When all were inside the banquet hall, the king came in to greet them. I could imagine everybody stood and cheered. So glad were they to be there. Suddenly, however, there was a silence. Something was wrong. Going up to one of the guests, the king said to him, "My good man, how do you how did you get in here without a wedding garment?" Frightened, the man said nothing. Then, to everybody's surprise, the king gave orders that he be bound hand and foot and carried outside. Such was a such was this such was the story of a royal wedding to which none of the first invited guests would go. What was the meeting? What did Jesus? Why did Jesus tell it? The good, kindly king, of course, was God, and the son was Jesus. The invited guests were the leaders of Israel. The king's servants were the prophets whom God had sent to, and then, so he wouldn't, he cast them out because he wouldn't dress. Mean. And this is the illustration. And of course, it's the guy that looks dirty. And some people, would have clothes that they would only wear for funerals, only wear for weddings and stuff like that. Okay, okay, okay. Let me get back to the story. The king's servants were the prophets who God had sent to them times without number, urging them to repent and return to Him. What about the people who were found on the streets? The poor and the needy, the good and the bad. Who were they? They were the men and women, the boys and girls, right in front of Jesus at the time. And everybody liked them from that day to this. No doubt it was for them he told the story, to let them know they were welcome, thrice welcome, in his Father's kingdom. They might be the poorest of poor. They might never have been in school. They might never have been a nice had a nice home or a single chance in life. But if they accepted God's loving invitation, they could share the best he had to offer. The wedding feast of the King of Heaven is wide open to them. But there is one condition. Your rags must be covered. You must put on a wedding garment. What could that be? It must be something spotlessly clean, something very, very beautiful. And what else could that be but the purity, the goodness, the forgiving love of Jesus? This glorious garment might be wrapped about all who plan to attend his wedding. Okay? And that means you and me. And then it has, and again, they don't have the thing in the hand of the illustration of the ghostly Jesus on here. Because, of course, this book is supposed to be um, before Calvary. And you can see the ghostly representation of him putting on the clean garment. But what I'm fussing about or complaining about is the palm of his hand. You don't have the marking of the crucifixion. But like I said, this is before Calvary, so I think Calvary's in the next book. We got two more books. Eight. Yeah, got two more books to go through. Okay. That was the end of part 3, story 6. So I'm gonna take a little break, and then we're gonna be back with our next story. See you in a minute.